Let's see. Reconnected. Okay. Jesus Christ. YouTube must be watching me. They don't want me talking about this type of stuff. But yeah, it keeps glitching. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But usually what happens when it glitches like that, they reformat it when it goes to pop back up on a video. So if it's really bad, you can always watch it later. And it will tighten up the glitches. That's usually what YouTube does, but that's not always necessarily gonna happen. Anyways, going back to this whole thing where people wake up and they trust a lot, and it sucks that after trusting so many of these people, we find out that they're bullshit. But once you learn what you've learned over that period of time, when you learn some of the gematria, when you learn more of the symbolism, you learn some of the revelation of the method, you realize, holy shit, they were telling us they were bullshit all along. Wolfgang Halbig. How many times did he say he was a state trooper? All state troopers are Masons, right? He told you. He's putting certain things out there, a numeric value. He told you he was bullshit. So we saw the fake court case they had with him in the past. So when he gets arrested again, do you think that's going to be legit? This whole arrest with him, and if you read it, was about him having information about another person, and he wasn't supposed to have information about another person. So in other words, what they're saying is, well, he might have had some real information about Lenny Posner or Social Security number, and you can't have that, right? Okay, well, that's a bunch of bullshit, because we know how Lenny Posner, before they changed his whole PSYOP thing on and made him disappear, had collected lots of people's Social Security numbers and stuff like that. And by the way, you know how many people have private information about people from that particular false flag? I'm not going to say what it is because, it's on YouTube here. And if I do say it, they'll just strike down this video. But there's lots of people. I've seen the stuff. I've given stuff to people to hold in case there was ever an emergency that I needed it for. There's a lot of private information about the people that were involved in that thing that is out there. And they wanted to scare people. Oh, look, Halbig has some of that information. So I'm thinking is they found out somebody had some stuff, and they wanted to try and scare those people from not doing anything with it, right? And I want to tell those people out there that may have some private stuff, right? Don't be scared that you have it. That whole Halbig thing was a big shenanigan to scare people, okay? And, we've always known he's a part of it. The person that might have some of this private information or whatever probably might have been one of a Halbig fan or something. And I'm sorry to break your trust in some of these people. He was just another one of them. That's why he was a part of this fake arrest. He's going into retirement. Him and Fetzer and some of these other people are just getting old. And it's time for their retirement. So that's what they're doing, They're going to figure out how this can all work for their benefit. It's just like that whole fake court case with the parents and Fetzer and Alex Jones, right? Even Robert David Siegel came out and said, oh, well, this Alex Jones was kind of a fake case and all that. But, the Fetzer ones is real. And you know what? Anybody that's been around knows how David Steele is bullshit, right? Anybody that's been around knows how he's bullshit and has investigated that. And this is what I expect of the people that watch me. And this is why I wanted to get into this before I got into the whole Kobe Bryant thing. Probably on the next video or so I do. Is because there's no use in you watching me if you don't understand this, okay? There's no use. It's just going to upset you. I hope it upsets you and clicks you to wake you up on another level. But don't waste so much time getting angry at just me and unfollowing me if you can't wake up. And research these things yourself and find out what I'm saying and prove it to either be true or not true, right? Like I've said so many times, I wish one or two times, this thing broke. It just broke. Yeah, YouTube just knocked me off. YouTube knocked me off. Are they back on again? What's going on with that? Hold on. See, they don't even let you have a freaking reel. There you go. It looks like I'm back on. Let's try and catch up. All right. So anyways, I wish there was a time that I was wrong. And I may have been wrong about a little tidbit of information here and there along the way. But I haven't been proven wrong. And it sucks. I almost want somebody to come along and prove me wrong. But they haven't. Yeah, every time people end up digging in more, I find out that I haven't misled them in any way. And I wish I could be proven wrong about all of this that's gone on, because what goes on is completely insane. And yes, there's this conversation where I get into what people I research with. When we got into a group and researched these different things, we happened to come across these different shill networks, and we were exposed to them in such a way while investigating them. It looks like I went down again. And when we did, it kind of woke us up even more to really how this all works and goes on, right? It looks like I shut down all over the place, sort of. Anyways, YouTube doesn't like me. Anyways, but it woke us up more to how these networks work, and this whole revelation of the method, and how Masons were actually taking part in waking some people up. And yeah, it will blow your mind. But when you translate it back to what we were warned about, whether you go back to the very beginnings of, some of the things Bill Cooper was talking about, or you go back to any of the things that really you read about way back in the day, on how this whole Blavatsky, this whole nothing is higher than truth, how they were going to use this to manipulate the people, how they're going to use it to mass initiate everybody. And literally that New Age movement, how it's intertwined in some ways with religion over here, and how it's intertwined with total atheism over here, and how it's intertwined with Satanism over here, how that all is exactly what is taking place now. And it's just like these things where I've talked about before. You'll see somebody on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, they'll talk about that they're a light keeper or light worker or stuff like that. Wait a second, these are the things that they told you we're going to get people into doing or believing. And then they're believing it and then still talking, I'm still talking shit about the Masons, but I have the word truth seeker. But yet we know that's what a Mason calls another Mason. So you're not taking part in this mass initiation, but you're, and I'm not saying that all their beliefs, all the Masonic beliefs, and are wrong. What I'm saying is, if we're going to take any of those beliefs on, we take them on like this. This is something I believe. I believe it's factual, but I also believe that this is something Masonic that they use against us. So I want to make that clear so that people understand that I understand this is a good portion of something they're teaching or getting people to believe, but I also believe that it's used as part of their grand scheme, the great work, things that we've talked about in the past, right? So I still want people to really understand this, is that, yeah, not all their ideas are horrible, but we have to understand what they're being used for, so let's not just adapt them, blanket adapt them, right? Because ritual in the Masonic world, and whether it's us being taught symbolism, numerology, gematria, and all those different things, is still part of their ritual. And we're talking about ritual, we're talking about initiation, and we've been warned, right, about their mass initiation in the future. So a true understanding of that is important. And I know some people are going to click with that, and they're going to get that, and I think a lot of them already do that watch me. But I want to make that clear is just because some people out there will come along, you're going to fall for stuff. And you're going to get to either grow from it or you're going to get stuck. You know, it's funny. You know, you get somebody that's going to come along and say they're going to listen to Laura Eisenhower, right? You know, then they're going to start talking about on their own. Oh, look, I like Laura Eisenhower's idea about ascension and all this stuff. And then there's the people that go out and say or learn and research. She's just an MK Ultra tool, and she's been saying the same bullshit for 7 years. The bitch hasn't ascended nowhere, right? And, you know, it's just brainwashing. And then there are other people that are going to get stuck, and they'll just lend too much credibility to those people, so it'll just kind of, you know, get stuck at that point. Man, they keep on nailing my kilobytes per second here and lagging me all up. But anyways, I'm sorry about that if it is lagging that much. You can go back. I'm going to load this also on BitChute. But I wanted to just really try and touch base with people about this. Is, you know, we all go through a period in time where we don't get it. You have to keep researching, though. You have to almost push these people away. You know, go into reading where this stuff came from. Does it all jive? You know, it'd be like reading George Orwell's 1984 and not understanding what was behind George Orwell and his whole revelation of the movie. It is a movie, right? A method or anything else. Not understanding that. Much love to all you. Yeah, I see you. It's been screwy, but thanks for sticking with it. Yeah, I know they're screwing with it. What can I do? You know, I'm not one of those. I don't get that shill money. So my computers and, you know, I'm sure my usage time is probably on the low level of everything, you know. Like I said, man, I've showed this before, right? This is my microphone. Right here, my microphone stand, right? I got the cheapest snowball out there, and this is a freaking glass bottle from the dollar store filled up with the sand to weigh it down. That's my microphone, you know. So my microphone stand cost $1 worth of sand and $1 worth of glass bottle, you know. But I wasn't gonna spend, you know, I think one of the cheap microphone stands were like $11-12. I ain't spending that kind of money, you know. I don't want to contribute to the system like that, you know. I should have probably made it out of just stuff I had in the garage or something, some wood. But you know, I thought this was halfway cool. I could, you know, it actually works good to weigh it down, and it puts it at a good height, and you know, grounds it pretty good. You know, I'm thinking, but you know, back to this whole thing. You know, everybody wakes up and falls for somebody, right? Whether it be David Wilcox, whether it be Alex Jones, whether it be, you know, whoever, right? We've all gone through that. Please keep an open mind that not everything you're told, even though it sounds great and it sounds like it's total opposition of what you think the direction is they're going, if you don't know exactly what the direction that they're going, where the fuck are you understanding it? You know, if you don't understand, you know, when these different old-time Masons taught about the mass initiation, right? And it kicked me off again, those motherfuckers. You two be loving me. So anyways, if we don't understand these things, where are we going, right? Where are we going in our process of waking up if we don't understand that part of their game is revelation of the method, mass initiation into the rituals and rites of the Mason? You know, if we don't understand that, you know, even the Knights Templar, when they brought back the rituals from the holy, quote unquote, holy land, and you know, even though Jordan Maxwell is a Mason, you know, one thing I always thought was funny he said is, yeah, you know, they call it the Holy Land because the stories are filled with holes, you know, And it really is. You know, the Holy Land, everywhere in Israel, the stories got holes all over them if you investigate it. They're all bullshit. You know, you know. But that's what religion is. You know, it's a belief. Listen to all, believe none. Yes, it's the thing. You know, I don't do it. I wouldn't watch Alex Jones, but I'm not gonna tell somebody not to because they might get some current news. You know, and if they're smart enough to know the parts where he's just being crazy intentionally or lying intentionally, then they're able to get the good stuff and throw out the bad stuff. Not everybody's able to do that, though. Not everybody's able to overcome that there's programming even involved in the truth community. It's funny. It's like I got an old-timer friend that I research with. He always says, you know, it wasn't us that started the truth community. It was the CIA. The CIA started the truth community. That way, man, they controlled it from the beginning, right? You know, it's us outlaws, the ones that go against the fringe, the ones that, you know, don't support, you know, people stealing money to tell the truth and stuff like that they don't like, you know. The ones that figure out part of the revelation of the method, the ones that you know, that try and explain to you that, you know, listen, we've seen this big group of all these different people, they came from many different backgrounds, everything else, come out telling the truth. But their behaviors and forgetting how to encourage the conducive thought of, let's stop this. Let's figure out solutions to ending this stuff instead of the constant fear porn. You know, I thought about it. So many people got upset at me when I said there's not going to be a nationwide blackout last year when everybody kept on pushing this big fear porn. It's going to black out next week, couple weeks, it's all going to go down. It's all going to go down. The grid's going to go down. The grid. I said, no, it's just bullshit. It's all brainwashing. And people, oh, no, Jerry, you're an asshole. Well, I'm blocking you. You're so stupid. I'm like, whatever, dude. You know, whatever to all these people. What happened? Did the grid go down? No. I said, and I even made a video about it. I told you, in pockets. They're going to do little trial pockets all over the place where they'll black out an area for maybe a day or two or whatnot. But it'll be a minimum number of people. And this is what they're going to do. There's not going to be a national grid blackout. It's almost impossible for them to do, believe it or not. But trust me. And people are obsessed with believing it. You know, Richard from Boston said the grid's going down. We gotta, we gotta get all our MREs and stuff. And I'm not against that. Trust me, I've talked about that before. Freaking buy all the MREs. Always prep for the worst. Because even if all these shows are wrong, you never know when, God or whatever else might do something. Or something might happen. So it doesn't hurt to prep. No, I never discourage that. But I do discourage fair porn. On stupid ideas. It's the coronavirus. Yeah. SARS. H1N1. All these people, they've done this story before. A certain amount of people die from the flu every year. Okay. So now we're going to just give that flu a name? Is really what they're doing. That way we can hype it up. And then when it's hyped up, it's in person's mind, right? They get that idea in somebody's mind. Now that the idea and fear is in somebody's mind, it weakens the mind and makes them easier to catch a little flu or sickness. I remember, and I probably shouldn't get into that story. But there was a trick. There's almost a mind trick that a friend taught me when I was younger, right? Where I was allergic to dogs. And I think you all see Blizzy when she jumps around here, that it's quite obvious I'm not allergic to dogs. But when I was younger, I was for a while, I couldn't get too close. I rubbed them, I'd get real itchy and all that stuff, get a rash. Well, there's a little trick where I learned where I was able to overcome, an allergy. Should that stuff be talked about? I don't know. Because I think there's a little weird point where that's some of their trickery that you're learning, and that should not necessarily be shared. I think that's a big problem we're coming upon today, is where, they say they hide this knowledge. Well, I'm not sure all this knowledge should be shared, because look at all the problems that it causes. These people that supposedly know all these secrets, who are they? They're satanic freaks, right? They get so lost in it that it envelops their mind, and they turn to shit. I haven't come across somebody that's a decent person that knows this stuff, that has, used this stuff in a good manner. It's like the old adage of, well, my grandfather was a Mason, so he was a good Mason. Okay, your grandfather's a fucking good Mason, right? Yeah, right. And why does he have a picture of George Washington on his wall? A murderous thug, right? People can't get over the fact that, all our heroes are predetermined Masons that are nothing but garbage. Is there a war if there's not a Mason, right? Every general out there that I've ever known of, on both sides, has been one of these secret society Masons, one way or another. So death, and innocent death on a mass scale, is a projection of the Masons. So you can't say, that Uncle so-and-so was great or whatever, Grandpa, that was a Mason, is a good person, if they supported this system. You support the death of innocence, you're satanic, no matter which way you look at it, even if you can't figure it out or have woken up to it, The crown virus, royal purple rain, yeah. Purple, that's even another story. I mean, I was reading about, they don't always tell you that, but that's, there was that crossover time when, George Adams and Quincy was becoming president there, and he wanted this purple cape, right? And it was some kind of debate. Wasn't sure whether or not to wear it in public because, the people might think he's trying to be a king, but yet he also wanted to feel like a king. And there was that whole internal debate with him, and his wife, because his wife made him a purple cape, that silk-lined royal purple. A little knowledge can be dangerous when people cease to look into the mirror and admit they know nothing. Yeah. And is that one of those stories? Because we talk about the knowledge from the tree of life, there of good, good and evil, and the fruit of the knowledge. It can be fruitful for the man to create. And when we talk about man to create, we're talking about artificial, from the man of arm, man's arm. I don't know if that's actually a good thing. When people didn't have language, when people didn't have so much stuff, all the things that came from artificial, the phone's artificial, the computer's artificial, lighter's artificial, everything's artificial. They used their senses. They communicated on a more instinctual level. You see I watch how Blizzy behaves, and it's interesting how she can instinctively, get me to do things, and she's very smart, and how she reacts to certain things, and it's like they have a whole other sense. We lost that when we start creating artificial things, for our pleasure, because that's all artificial is, And then I even get in that tough debate word too with me, How do I translate to these, disagree with these people like this? Because, wait, Jerry has artificial legs. So that means if we should have never had anything artificial, then Jerry couldn't have his artificial legs, right? So it's one of these really catchy situations, And their idea is, okay, maybe we agree that some of these things are artificial that are no good. So therefore, what about from the future? Why don't we just kill all babies that have disabilities, because they wouldn't be able to exist in a, natural law world? That's a catchy debate in itself right there. I don't know. Don't know how to disagree or agree with them on that one, because it's really complicated, you know. But what it comes down to is, now that we've built this, artificial world, in theory, it's a mass matrix we've all taken part in creating. It's not just their matrix. It's all of us, right? Now that we've built this, or they've helped build it, and they built this turd of how our world works today, well, we have to live within those the right way as much as we can. So when you hear about places like, I think it's Iceland, they're killing every single Down syndrome baby there is. New York City, they're killing as many babies with Down syndrome as possible. Virginia, killing babies with Down syndrome. These people like to kill babies. I don't know what the hell their problem is. And yeah, okay, there's a natural world out there that some of these people may not be able to survive, but we've created a world where they could, to a certain extent. So is it right to kill them now? Just because if we converge more towards a natural way, the theory is, well, they shouldn't exist because they can't. Well, we've created an artificial world where they could, so they should be allowed to. That's my argument with that. But anyways, I guess I probably went off on the whole debate about, not debate, discussion of what happens to people when they wake up and falling for these different people. And I've tried my best not to throw it back when somebody grows and learns the truth. But I definitely come across times where I think it would have been very fun to do so, but it's not exactly right. If you woke up 2 years ago, you are going to either go beyond and see how much bullshit was actually created for you, even in what would be considered the truth community, or you're going to get stuck. And I want to be there for the people that can grow. So remember, like what was said in one of the comments, as much as you think you know, if you just woke up, right? You don't know. And it's all going to change. So don't swear by it. There's still a lot of stuff I won't swear by. Even though I believe something, I won't swear by it because it could change. You know what? It could change. A story, that we've told about in a false light, something could change. But I'm going to believe what I believe from the knowledge I've researched. But I won't ever swear to nothing until, I've done overwhelming research on it and years of it. I think things like what happened in Connecticut, that I'd swear up and down. I would give my life for that truth, because I know how much of a lie it was. That's how much I know that was a lie. Certain other things I didn't research enough, so I can't definitively lock onto it. There are certain ones where I've done enough research that I can definitively say, hey, there's no way in hell, I'm going to listen to any other bullshit, because I did it. But it takes years, Coming across somebody on YouTube and watching a few of their videos without freaking researching their subjects and them for years should never be locked onto, because you're gonna have your heart broken. I'm sure there's a lot of people that had their heart broken when they learned Wolfgang was bullshit, even though he was telling people he was bullshit the whole time. That's what amazes me. These people tell you the whole time that they're bullshit. So, it's not really a surprise. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to have their heart broken to find out that he was bullshit, And that's sad. But if you never got locked into those people in the first place, don't even lock into me, because I really could care less if you thought I was legit or not. That's my opinion. I know who I am, care less about what other people think, You got to be kind of a shell to care about what people think, right? Because you got to get them, because it's your job to get their attention and to get their money and to get them into these lies. It doesn't matter to me what you believe, right? That's why I think I luck out, when they tell you 70% truth to get you to believe 30% lie, shit, they have an obligation to get that 30% sold because that's their duty, that's their job. I have no duty, I have no job, I'm just Jerry, so I it makes it a little bit easier for me. I don't have to do a script. I don't even have to write down ideas. I could just open the mic like this, So, there's so much gullibility. And then a task force of tricks. Yeah, it's crazy. And when you research those things, you'll really see there's like a network. There's different groups. And believe it or not, some of them do, they use words. And they use like their own. You gotta remember, right? People lock in so much to gematria, right? And that's part of their numbers trap too. And I'm not against people learning it, because it is very revealing and understanding so much that goes on. But you got to understand, right? Now take all those codes that you may know about gematria, right? Now, if you got groups that are literally submitted certain dossiers or whatever you may want to call it that match up that other people don't have, they're able to have a numeric conversation without anybody else knowing it and even be able to decipher it because they don't have the key. You have to have the key to decipher, those groups and how they translate. And you always wonders, like, how does it always happen where shills kind of only interview shills or shills only work with shills, And then sometimes a shill will they'll try and recruit somebody. That's why they'll take in, they'll bring them along. Jim Fetzer's famous, Ole Demigard's famous for doing that. The whole trying to bring them into their little group, right? And then if you don't work out, then they, if you don't go along with what they say, they get pissed. And, because they got to have their, that's how the CIA and all these, secret societies, agencies work. We'll get into the whole thing. I've done it before in explaining how the cell system, the terrorist cell system, is the Masonic system, okay? There's no other way to put it. There's nobody that can argue that the terrorist cell system is not the Masonic system. No possible way. That's an easy argument all day long. You could lay that one out real quick. But they can work. And then when you wonder how these people, they're having fake fights, but then you kind of see them have a fake fight in a weird way. They're talking to each other. They don't hate each other. They're playing this game. They're playing this whole shill game. And you can see it. And it literally opens up how all these networks work. And once you see how all these networks work, man, it will blow your mind the amount of them. And how big it really is. It will blow your freaking mind. It's the craziest thing. That's I think. Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. You're right on everything. It will just disinfil helps. It does. It does. What did we? Somebody said something today. It was something similar to that. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. The big question is this frankest belief. This frankest thing we must create. The Bloomberg idea. Doing evil to create, to bring about good. It's the Masonic. It's literally what the Masonic great work is based on. Okay, literally the plan that All this bullcrap that you see happening today is based on this Frankist idea of doing bad so that good will come. It's literally what it is. And I know some people have already figured that out, but I mean, yeah, it's this, Bloomberg, he's gonna bring in all this bad Hitler stuff because they think it was gonna create their Messiah. And of course, we all know that that's a trick so that they can actually just, control society more. But that's what it is. And is this, without the disinfo, can we have the info? Without evil, can we have good? Because good wouldn't be recognized without evil. Good question. Those are good questions. I believe in a balance. Not somewhere along the lines of we don't need to have fake murders to get people to have outcome. These outpourings of sympathy. You don't need to do those things. They stretch it a little bit to feed their egos, and then they decide, well, we had to suffer by doing this evil, and that's why we deserve all these donations and getting all this money and stealing this money. What a bunch of crock. People that take good, part in this great work. The Grand Lodge, number 33 there in Washington D.C. Kobe Bryant 33. It is what it is. They think the parts that they play are good. The lies and evil they do are good. I don't necessarily. I don't go along. I don't prescribe to that. I believe we can live in a kind world, and still see kindness. It's like when you go out in the woods. I'll spend a long time just seeing, beautiful areas one after another, and I still will all of a sudden be surprised by a really new beautiful area. It doesn't have to be a dirt hole and then this beautiful area for me to appreciate that beautiful area more. The programming, I think, is essential for them to create that fear and evil and bad so that they can control the good. They need to control the good because that's where the most danger lies. But it's a control system, this Frankist belief. It's funny when I caught somebody, speaking of personal information and stuff that would just destroy a false flag in a court. I caught somebody that was involved in a false flag, right? And be careful how I say this. Involved in religion, but also literally working with when I say satanic rabbi, I mean like this guy was low-level rabbi, but literally practice Satanism at the same time. I guess is the only way to to explain it. I see, of course, they shut me off as soon as I said that little ramble. But yeah, screwed up crap that goes on. But this is the brainwashing that they use on the people that are involved in these things. This is the type of stuff that these people are involved with. But the scary part is that some of these people are in our public and have interactions with other people and even children in the public. And that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. But to be brainwashed that it's okay to do evil because it's part of what needs to take place for good to happen, or a Meshach or Messiah to come about, is a load of crap. It's a load of crap, We've had so much disappointment in this last couple of years with the truth community, I think. The worst part is, there was people like me that we predicted the fake court case with Alex Jones 2 years before it happened, right? We predicted the fake court case with Fetzer. Predicted the fake court case, predicted it that it was going to happen before it happened, right? And we're still predicting another case. So it wasn't, too much of a surprise. But for people out there that fell in love with these people, I think it had to be discouraging to find that out, that they were fake all along. It had to be really discouraging. But it doesn't mean that all their information was fake. Just because Fetzer was part of these secret society, particular secret society, doesn't mean that a lot of his work isn't legit. There's a couple pieces, and where I know it was a lie because I knew the area. But other work he did was solid, and we can't just throw that all out just because he's bullshit. They would like you to. That way, you'll start believing the original narrative again. And don't ever do that. Don't ever go back to, when these people do these turnabouts, these turncoats on, where they gave you truth and now they're kind of going back on it, Don't ever allow yourself to go back to the original narrative, because no matter what, whether these people are lying to you, whether they misled you for a certain extent and now they're going back on these stories, no matter what, the original narratives were always bullshit. They were always a lie. So don't ever go back on them. You just have to understand that, hey, we had somebody that gave us truth and they turned out to be no good. Okay? That doesn't mean all their information is no good. A lot of their information is good, and you can work off of that. And it's kind of your fault for trusting them in the first place, because if you researched all their information, not just little bits and pieces, you would have found out that, okay, ABC that they gave me was all 100% correct. But wait a second, why would they tell me D when D is completely insanely false? Why would they mix D in with that ABC that's all true? Well, if you researched them in the first place and researched all that information in the first place, you would have caught that D being a lie and being inserted with the truth. And the fact that they did that, it's just like the whole thing. We got a professor out there, supposed to be a person of logic and reasoning and all these published papers, la da 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 da. But yet, you're not awake enough to understand how both sides are controlled by the same people. I don't care if you're pushing Trump or if you're pushing Biden or Bloomberg or Hillary or what. We all know they all work for the same douches, the same system, right? So you can't be a professor and, I'm giving you all this truth about this stuff, and then I'm telling you, Trump's fighting the deep state. You know how retarded that sounds to anybody that has any reasoning? Of course it sounds retarded, So, when you see these professors or these, whatever people that are supposed to know all this stuff, and then they give you something totally ridiculous, right? They're just, they just don't understand that part. You don't publish papers and be a professor and supposedly are awake on all this stuff, but can't figure out, D, come on. When that insane part that doesn't make any sense, when you have a whole bunch of truth here, then all of a sudden they give you this bullshit, right? That is bullshit. You can't defend their bullshit, because it's there to hurt the truth. But they gave you that truth to lead you in so that you'll maybe believe that bullshit. Then they can slowly turn you back on that A, B, and C that was true by chipping away at each one of them, by, flipping your brain so you end up going back to the narrative. That's your own fault for not researching and figuring that out. Like My co-worker suggested nuking all of Iran today. Oh my God. Because the TV told them so. Yes. While eating a bagel. Got about 80 million strangers to death without doing any research. Yeah. For the greater good. For a greater good, you know. And just like we showed in past videos, Iran. They got the pyramid banks. You know, people, you know, when people say they don't have a Rothschild bank, all right, you know, just throw that out the door, because there's no such thing as a place without a Rothschild bank. You know, they might not have physically one there because it may not be a good asset for them. But it doesn't matter when you're dealing in resources and the payment for those resources, which is every single country on this planet, you're dealing with the Rothschild system. So, you know, throw that right out the door, all right? You know, we know how the oldest part of the Illuminati comes from the Iranian area, Iran and Afghanistan, right? Oh, I forgot the name of it. Was it the Orion Group? The Orion Group, right? Something like that. It's the oldest part of the Illuminati, of the Magi. So you're going to sit there and say, you know, the people of Iran are just as brainwashed as the people of America. You know, the people of Iran have no clue how they're brainwashed and controlled. You know, they don't understand that their leaders are friends with our leaders because they play their little dog and cat game, dog and pony game, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's a big show. They're, you know, what do we talk about? How the parliament in Iran, or whatever their system is there, I'm guessing it's parliament, right, has 33 windows on their freaking pyramid building of their parliament. It's full of Masonic bullshit. So if you're going to sit there and say that Iran is not one of the secret society of the Illuminati, you're a freaking moron, you know? You know, I'm tired of those people. You get tired of those people, but, you know, they just haven't woken up. What can you do? My thing is, I just don't want to listen to them. I'll just say, fuck, you know, go away, you know, until you can grow up and learn what's actually happening. You know, it doesn't mean that, you know, in the future I won't talk to you or something. I don't want to go backwards. I want to grow. So, you know, I'm going to throw some of that bullshit out there. Thought police. Bath time for the kids. Yeah, I'm thinking the same time, you know. I can't say that word because, you know, Blizzy will run away. But, yeah, I got to give her one. So, yeah, I'm going to chill. Thanks for having you all along, though.